Hello everyone, Jeff from RespawnStudios.com back with the next part of my Alan Wake full walkthrough with commentary. I have decided to split some of these up into two parts. Episode 2, 3, and 5 in this game are much longer than 1, 4, and 6, so I'm probably going to have each of them in two separate parts. Just because I don't want a video to be over an hour long and narrate the whole time. I don't know if anyone would want to watch that, and if I would want to talk myself for an hour. So I'll cut it in half and do about a half hour for each of them. Kind of like the first video was fairly long, but it was an entire episode. This is going to be the essentially the first half of episode 2. So, at the beginning of every episode of the game, we get those cool previously on Alan Wake, kind of like a TV show, where we get the important story parts through cutscenes of what happened before. And now we are moving forward. This is a flashback sequence, as you saw in New York City 2 years ago. This is Alan and Alice in their apartment.
Honey, I'm home.
There are a couple sequences like this, and they have really good graphics. That's one of the things you're going to notice in this part of the walkthrough. I stop and just show off the environment, how amazing it looks a couple times.
I guess you're going to need that coffee then. I'll go put it on.
So the first thing, Alice asks you to go turn on the coffee, so you just come in here, hit B.
Coffee's on.
I think there's actually a coffee thermos in the room where Alice is. Usually in a room where there is a coffee machine like that, there's a coffee thermos right next to it, as we'll see in the police station and also a cabin later. But in this instance, I think it's just the one next to Alice. Here she tells you to go look at the cover mock-ups, which is that thing in the center, but look at what's on the left, the stack of papers. And that will give you your first two manuscript pages of the episode, Sudden Stop 1, Sudden Stop 2.
I'm right here. I'm on it, honey.
Right now the power goes out and Alice freaks out. She asks you to turn it back on. You can't, so you get a flashlight. You comfort her, then there's another cutscene.
Don't worry. We'll just break out the candles.
Now, I'm going to not try and give any overt spoilers away, but what he talks about with Alice here does become important. I'll just leave it at that. He talks about a childhood story where he was also afraid of the dark, and his mother gave him an old light switch, and she said anytime you flip it on when you're scared, it will turn a magic light on and make the evil monsters go away. So you could probably already start to imagine what the possibilities of that are.
Alan.
Maybe it'll help you too.
Yeah, nice story, writer boy. You made that up right now, didn't you?
No.
Now, as you probably gathered from all the times I mentioned it, and how many collectibles were in episode 1, there's going to be tons of collectibles in all of these videos. And I'll try and point out as many as I can remember as I'm playing, and then doing the commentaries. I'll more than likely miss a couple though, so again I suggest going to the Achievement Hunter Rooster Teeth videos done by Jeff and Jack, which are really good.
How do you feel, Mr.
Though they say one of the radios you come across counts as a radio, but it doesn't.
How you feel?
So I think they ultimately miss one of the radios. But other than that, it's perfect. It has all 400 collectibles or something, so.
My headache and memory loss. He'd send me to a hospital for tests. I couldn't leave without.
So this is the town doctor. You're now in the police station. He's examining you to make sure you're okay. And you say in your own mind to the player, I lied so he wouldn't have to send me to the hospital because he wants to obviously search for his wife, more so than having to sit in a hospital for observations and tests. Alright, now we have control again. You have to go to the left to go talk to Sarah, but I suggest first coming down here. There's a radio broadcast you can listen to. I don't think that counts as one of them, but again, they're always interesting. There's a manuscript page there, and again, because I already have the coffee thermos, it's not there, but there's also a coffee thermos in there. next to the coffee machine on that little table. Now over here is going to be our second sign. You could examine that first one of 3 people, but I'm 99% sure it's that individual poster that counts as the sign. You'll know when you see the little wheel, the autosave symbol in the bottom left, when you're doing something that is important or collectible, it'll always save automatically. So that's always a good indication.
We were arguing. I walked out of the cabin.
Now Baker's trying to get more information about you. She's still worried you think your wife got lost in a cabin that doesn't exist, as she showed you at the end of episode 1. It's under the water, so how could you possibly have been there?
Excuse me. I need to take this.
And now we get an interesting phone call from a guy that claims to have Alice, and you hear her voice at the start of the conversation, so you're inclined to believe him.
Who is this?
Though it's hard to trust kidnappers and people that want money or different things. So he is telling you to go around the back, that he left something for you in a broken down truck. So we're on our way. This one guy in prison is asking you to turn on the light. In the cell right past him, there's a manuscript page on the little mattress cot. And now as we come outside, there is a radio, and I believe there's also a coffee thermos next to that normally. Now, one of the crazy things about the game, anytime there's something like this and you hit kick, the boards like freaking explode. I don't know if you've like a rocket foot or what, but that's a crazy kick. Alright, so what was there was Alice's ID. So this guy must be serious. He has at least her wallet or ID. And you get another phone call, which you would probably think would be from the kidnapper. Maybe he was watching you, but instead it's from your agent, Barry. He said he's been worried about you. He hasn't heard from you for a week, so he's already come to this town. And you tell him you're at the police station, so he's already worried, and he's quickly on his way to the police station. Now, as you're coming down this hallway, this TV automatically turns on, and that counts as one of the TVs. There are about 2 or 3 instances throughout the game where a TV automatically turns on, and they always count as one of the TVs, but make sure you stay in the area until you see the save symbol. And it's probably a good idea to hit start and go to statistics to make sure it counts before moving on. Alright, now we have a very interesting cutscene. There's Dr. Emil Hartman, the guy that you felt you don't like at all from the cover of the book. And he says he has talked to your wife several times before, and that is why she took you out here, because he has a clinic here for troubled artists. And Alan thinks that's total bullshit, and he punches him in the face. But that starts to open up big implications. Did she actually bring you here because she thinks you're crazy, that you need help? Who is this doctor? And just as you're worried about all that, the best character in the game comes in, your agent, Barry. He's a great voice actor. He's very funny. All of the people in this game are actually modeled on real people. And I think that was also in one of the special edition art books. They have the headshots of the actual people. I think most of them are from Finland, which is where the guys that made this game are from. I think almost all the actors are from there. It has the headshots and then the headshots of the characters showing you that it's based on them. And I think almost all of them, if not all of them, are voiced by that person as well. So it's very authentic that way. And Barry gets you out of that situation. The guy says he's not worried about pressing charges. He knows you need help. And here in this little cutscene, as you're going to the cabins where they said you might be able to stay, you learn that you have told Barry everything that's been going on. And he kind of thinks you're crazy, but you just said you had to vent to someone. And you happen to run into Rose. Barry seems to like her. Alan seems very against her here.
He's on the balcony, looking after Max. Poor thing. I really need to go.
She says she just brought Rusty, who is the guy from the diner earlier, the guy that works for the national park. She brought him coffee.
What an airhead.
And some of the manuscript pages we found in the first episode are about Rose and Rusty's relationship, that she kind of seems to like him and he kind of seems to like her, but they've never really done anything about it, said anything to each other. Alright, there is a coffee thermos back here, and right where we came in on the left was that woolly mammoth, and if you read the sign right in front of it, it counts as a sign. There are a couple other signs you could actually read, but they do not count toward the 25 signs. There's lots of conversations that are ongoing between you and Barry and then you and Rusty out here, and you could feel free to stop and listen to all of them, but I just cut them short and run to do the objectives. So you have to come out here to talk to Rusty. He's working on helping this dog, so he tells you to go inside and get the form to rent a cabin yourself. So you go in and sign it, and then you're going to have to bring it back out to Rusty. Then he's going to give you the keys, and then you can leave and go to the cabin, which transitions from the safe daytime of episode 2 into the crazy nighttime of episode 2, which is where the majority of every episode is. Though episode 4 has a good deal during the day. Episode 4 is also my favorite part of the game. Can't wait to get to that. Alright, so we now have the key. And you can feel free to look around at all the details. I've done that before, but I didn't want to make every video 5 hours of me showing you everything. I like all the chips and sodas and all the little details of the signs, everything around. So Barry's still trying to convince you to go to the police or call the FBI, get someone else involved. Alan's pissed off, saying they can't do anything. The guy called me while I was in the police station. They obviously don't care about the police. They feel no threat from them, so they must be dangerous. So you want to try and do this on your own. You're trying to meet the guy at midnight, which is what he said over the phone. He wants to meet you in this park at what's called Lover's Peak. Okay, so now you are going to venture out and try and find Mirror's Peak. Lover's Peak, I mean. There is a coffee thermos on the counter there next to the coffee machine. That's why I mentioned that earlier and why I ran over there. There's some batteries on the counter. Now, you can come around to the back of the house. You also have to come back here later, mini spoiler alert, and get this coffee thermos then, but I suggest getting it now. Because when you come back here later, another mini spoiler alert, it's under different circumstances. So it's just easier to get it now. Alright, and now we are going to make our way away from the cabin into the dangers. But first, we have a manuscript page over here by this little shack. You cannot drive that car. Don't worry, I don't skip it. You can't use it. Though there are cars you could use throughout the game, and it starts with this chapter. It teaches, there's a little driving tutorial when you get to it. But that won't be till part 2 of episode 2. You don't have to come to any of these side cabins, but I do to show you some more collectibles. And this first one is going to be a radio, and also some ammo and some batteries, I believe, over in this wardrobe. Yep. Or at least ammo. And again, feel free to listen to the radio stations, or you could always listen to it in playback. They're mostly phone calls between Pat Main and people that are calling in about strange things that are happening. Sometimes they're just songs. And the music they chose for this game is good. They're by real bands too. Not like just instrumental things they made for the game. Alright, so here you have to kick down the door. And inside is a television show with another episode of Night Springs. You could either watch it then or watch it again in the playback. I think TVs are also an option there. Maybe they're not, though. I'm not sure. You could at least go to all the manuscript pages and listen to the radio broadcasts. All right, there is a manuscript page at the open back of that Jeep. But also come over here to where that path emblem was, a little bit back from the van. And up in this sort of, I guess it's not a gazebo, but a little observation deck is another manuscript page. I think that one's also about Rose and Rusty. So I was scrolling through the manuscript pages here, showing you all of them in episode 2. The one with the symbol right there means it has to be picked up in nightmare mode, which you don't unlock till you beat the game at least once. And it's also very hard. So I would try and get as many collectibles as you can on normal. Hard's not even that bad. Nightmare, though, is pretty crazy. The enemies just do a lot of damage. So you have to be very careful and probably run by many of the counters just to be safe. Alright, so there's darkness going on here. You hear Rusty shouting for help, but unfortunately, no matter how fast you get there, there's nothing you can do. So I suggest coming over here, behind this first house on your right. There's a coffee thermos by that tree I zoomed in on. And over here on the left, in this little house, is another coffee thermos. Now, we're going to check on Rusty. We got a little cutscene. He's asking you to go turn on the power. You take his gun for protection.
It happened just the way it was on that page. I found came true. It knew. So dark. It'll come back for me. You must. The lights in the office. I have.
He's telling you that the building is across the way there.
Hang on. I'll be right back. Whatever did this couldn't be far. Rusty had found a page from the manuscript. It would help
You see the
him
dog
understand.
is over there in the cage, very worried. Alright, now there's going to be a manuscript page
The only way to
on the
ensure
little
Rusty's
curb
safe
next to the
is
stairs
the
here.
power running and the lights back on.
And I think there's another manuscript page right inside. After we have to unlock the door. Yep, another manuscript page. Now there's going to be some bullets in a case over here. Oh, batteries and bullets. Nice. When you come to the light, you see there's an axe through it.
Someone had
So
destroyed
not
the
much you can do.
There was no way to get the lights back on.
And as we start to turn around, we hear screaming again, horrible noises from over by Rusty. So let's get the hell back there.
The ground was covered with burning patches that looked like liquid darkness.
Oh, enemies, never a good sign. There's only 2 though, and they're regular enemies. So they take 2 bullets and their shield goes down fairly quickly. Alright, we see Rusty's gone.
Something had torn a man-sized
We see the dog cage is turned over, the dog's gone. Over here is a ammo box. You'll notice now and then there's the focus, which is to click down the left thumbstick, kind of like they do in Gears of War when you hold down Y. And many other games have a feature like that, but I just thought of Gears. So this is our next boss battle. Rusty, unfortunately, is possessed, and I'm laughing because it was crazy. Usually this is like the hardest battle in the game because Rusty moves way fast and is going like crazy, zooming around the edge. And for some reason, like it was glitched out where even when I was shining a light at him, he kept slowly coming toward me. So I was just able to quickly take away his boss level shield and shoot him the 6 times, which is what the pistol holds. Reload 2 bullets quickly and shoot him, and it took 8 bullets, just like the first boss. And you get another 10-point achievement for that. I just never got that lucky before. I can't believe it happened. Usually it's very frustrating because he moves so fast. You can shine a light on him for like half a second every time. And it just takes a while to break down his shield. Alright, now you're having another phone call from Barry. He's starting to say you're not crazy.
It's just me going crazy.
He's worried about what's going on.
Oh, jeez. You're not crazy. I wish you were crazy. But
Because he's starting to see weird things outside.
Stay in the cabin. Don't open the door for anyone.
You don't have to come over here. You could actually just go down the stairs behind where I was headed. But there is a manuscript page there on that picnic table, so I came over there. There's a little supply box right here. Some more bullets and batteries. Alright, now I do not go in here, but over here on the left is a small cave system. There are no enemies, there's no threat like that. You could just go to the back of it. There is a shotgun by itself leaned against the far cave wall. There is a sign to read for one of the signs. And there's also one of the collectible chests, the boxes with some supplies. So all of that is in there. I just thought for time's sake I would not go in there. But you just walk through the open door, push it open, and you're in the cave. So for that little battle, I just suggest running past the enemies a little bit to the bridge, so they have to come to you, kind of like 300. Make them have to go to a smaller space so you have the advantage. You could fight them one at a time. Now up here is a manuscript page. And I want to say one of the can pyramids is on a fence in an area like that. But I don't exactly remember. And again, I'm missing 4 of them. I'll point out 5 that I definitely know throughout these walkthroughs, though, so you could at least get the Carney achievement. Alright, up here is a shotgun and some ammo for it, which is always helpful, especially with the crazy battle coming up. Spoiler alert. And I'm just going to stand here and let you see some of the beauty of the game. Though I don't quite understand how the flashlight can perfectly reach that far on top of the roof of that area down there, but just the detail of the environment is really impressive to me in this game. Oftentimes forests are just not done well in games, but in this it looks awesome. Right, so as you approach this tree, 1 big guy and I think 2 regular enemies appear. I try and deal with the big guy first. He takes 2 shotgun blasts. And then you could do the divert your fire tactic that I mentioned last time. Just look back and forth, keep the enemies back, and take out both of them. Now the sign right here next to this big tree is another one of the signs. Alright, and there's going to be some more enemies here. I mean, you can run past these enemies, but you have to... You don't even have to. But there's a generator across this bridge, which creates a checkpoint. And I always like to use that, just in case I die, because the battle after this is kind of hard. So I just try and take out these enemies before I get to this bridge, or try and run down to the bridge, then turn around and kill them. Because as you approach, that goes out, and you'd have to use the generator. And you'd more than likely be hit by a flying axe or an enemy right next to you as you're trying to turn it on. So just try and take out the enemies first. Alright, but now we are safe for a little bit. There is a manuscript page up here in the path. An emergency box over here on the right. And there is one of the more elusive coffee thermoses in the game, because you wouldn't think you could go to this area, or wouldn't think to look over here. But you could hop this fence, and there's a coffee thermos on the rock right there that sticks out a bit. I think that was like the 97th or something I got when I was doing another playthrough to pick up the last couple I didn't already have. But most of them are in fairly obvious places. Just try and explore all of the hallways and things. There aren't many like in random places in the forest. It's not like a forever direction forest. You can go in any direction. It's kind of linear. So try and just go to the spaces you can. You'll probably find some collectibles. Alright, this battle is very hard. On normal, it's not so bad because it's normal, but on other difficulties, it can be crazy. So I suggest using the shotgun. Try and take out one of the two big guys first because they do the most damage and have the most shield. And then you could use your pistol to clean up the smaller guys. And constantly be trying to move back or even running away just so you're not surrounded and swarmed and you can keep the enemies at a decent distance from yourself. So you see it wasn't too bad there. I zoom in up there, there's a picnic table. I couldn't remember if there was a can pyramid or anything up there. I do not think there's anything, but I just wanted to point it out just in case. And now we're winding down the video, but we have a couple more important things to discuss. There is another sign that counts right here. There is normally a coffee thermos right on this picnic table. And then as we hop this fence, we are going to pick up another manuscript page. And then that is going to do it for part 1 of episode 2. Hopefully I will have part 2 up either later today or definitely by tomorrow, if not by today. And I'll try and have the entire game, all 6 episodes, done within the next week. Alright, so I hope you have enjoyed. I hope that helped, and thank you for watching.